Hi, this is Trisha Madeja and I will be reporting about emotions. So what is emotion? Emotions is a conscious mental subjectively experienced as a strong feelings usually directed toward a specific object or situations. So emotion can be product of our behavior, affection, passion, and sentiment means subjective response to a person's or situation. So emotions are feelings that are, triggered by thoughts and then events. So for example, 3 years ago, I tried to apply on a BPO company. Okay, and then I will not able to mention the name of that BPO company, but this company has a high standard in regards with the qualification for the agents. So BPO that also known as a call center. So that time, since that will be my first BPO company, like a BPO industry that I will try, there is a initial interview, assessment, and final interview. Okay? And then, I passed the initial interview. I passed the assessment, but when it comes to the final interview, I failed. And their feedback about my skills, on the results of all of the, on that 1 day process, assessment, they said that I did not meet their qualification in regards with speaking in English, like fluently in English, because they said that I cannot speak straight in English that time. And then, just to inform you, that was around 2018 or 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And then that time, when they said that I failed or they will not able to hire me as an agent on their company, I have a mixed emotion that time. Okay, imagine I applied from 8 a.m. The final interview is around 3 a.m. So imagine that long day. I spent my whole day on that company, and then in the end of that day I failed. And then I have a mixed emotion that time. That this is the important part. I have a mixed emotion that time because I feel sad and disappointed to myself. And when I failed my first BPO company, imagine. And then at the end, on the third one is I feel happy. Okay, I feel sad and disappointed to myself when I failed my first BPO company because I thought that I will pass that that company. I thought I will have a job that year, but since I failed, and then until I realized that I feel happy because at least I tried my best. I tried to apply on that company even I don't have any experience, I don't have a knowledge, but I tried my best based on my understanding. Okay, that's emotion will be mixed. Let's say you're sad, you feel sad, you feel disappointed, but you feel happy at the end of that situation. And that is the emotion is. Okay? And in the nature of emotions, as a defined of a psychologist, there's a three components on that section or on that part. Number one is the characteristic of feeling or subjective experience. So it refers to a single point of view or your ego. The number one example there is that you and your friend have an argument, like there was a misunderstanding, and you don't talk each other for a long time because you're thinking your ego or your point of view that if you talk your friend, you are the one who have a low pride or they call ego. So the number two, pattern of psychological arousal. Arousal mean when you feel excited or very alert, or heightened activity like autonomic nervous system, like psychologically alert and awake. Okay, and then the example for that situation is, for example, there was a fire on the neighborhood, and then suddenly your mind will be connected to your emotion, and then you feel alert and awake because you need to think what you need to do or what to do just to help on that situation. I know that you know what I mean is, okay? Because we are all aware in regards with the 5. And then the last one is a pattern or overt expression. It is an action which can be shown in an open and obvious way. The number one example here is like as easy as that, which is the facial expression. Because you, or even me, or you are able to know what is the emotion of the people in the, when they feel angry. You are able to see the facial expression, like you are able to see on their faces. Like if the people is angry, if the people is sad or irritated, something like that. Okay, so that will be the emotion is. Thank you so much for listening.
Hello everyone, I'm Tony Margie Di Pascual and I will discuss a classification of emotions. We have 4 classification of emotion. The number 1 is positive versus negative. Positive and negative emotions significantly influence our sense of well-being and how we interact with others. The positive emotions such as joy, love, and happiness often contribute to personal well-being. This emotion help individual feels good about themselves, foster optimism, and strengthen their relationship with others. For example, sharing a laugh with friends during a relaxing evening can boost everyone's mood and reinforce a sense of belonging. And the negative emotion naman is such as fear, anger, sadness, and rage tend to decrease one's sense of well-being. This emotion can make people feel isolated or defensive, potentially leading to conflict and damaged relationships. While negative emotions are natural part of life, unmanaged negativity can harm personal and social dynamics. For example, a person who is anxious about speaking in meeting might avoid contributing, which could limit opportunities for collaboration and sharing ideas. The number 2 is primary versus mixed emotion. Primary emotions are the fundamental emotions human experience, typically considered universal across cultures. These emotions include happiness, disgust, surprise, sadness, anger, and fear. For example, a child receive a gift they wanted for a long time, feeling pure joy and excitement. And mixed emotion are a combination of primary emotions creating more complex emotional states. For example, watch a child graduate from high school, bring happiness for their achievement but sadness at seeing they grow up. And the number 3 is opposite emotions. Emotional opposites provide a framework to explore how people shift between feeling in response to life experiences. When someone's moved from one pole to another, it signifies a significant emotional changes or reaction. For example, a student feels joy after receiving a scholarship for their dream university. That same student feels sadness leaving behind close friends to move away for college. And the number 4 is emotional intensity. Emotional intensity are always of the same intensity or strength. Emotions have different levels of intensity. Fear can start as a feeling of being tense and can escalate into fear and apprehension and even reach extreme fear. For example, if a person experiences tension due to an unexpected result, it can change and become fear when it is known that there is bad news about it, and will cause severe dread when he cannot accept the impact of the news.
Libanon, and I'm here to discuss common sense theory. Let's start with this paragraph. Una po, makikita natin yung perceived situation. Next is emotional experience. Then body response. Bigay po muna ako ng example. Example po is nasa campsite po tayo. Then may nakita po tayong bear. Natakot po tayo kasi baka atakin tayo ng bear. Ang perceived situation po natin is nakakita tayo ng bear. Then yung emotional experience po natin is natakot tayo kasi baka atakin tayo ng bear. Then yung body response po natin is kinabahan po tayo, pinagpawisan. In the mid-1880s naman po, may dalawang scholars na kinontra ang common sense view. Sila po ay sina Carl Lang and William James. Tingnan po natin yung paragraph. Sa kanila po, nauna is perceived situation, body response, then emotional experience. Balik po tayo sa example ko kanina. Is nasa campsite po tayo, then nakikita tayong bear. Ang perceived situation po natin is nakakita ng bear. Next po is body response, which is luminis yung dibok ng puso natin and pinagpawisan po tayo. And then, yung next po is emotional experience, which is natakot po tayo.
Hi, I am Akhil Papres Ivan and I was assigned to discuss the Cannon-Barr theory and the two-way factor theory. O Cannon-Barr theory or the hypothalamic theory. Cannon-Barr theory says that when we encounter stimulus, our brain, or especially the hypothalamus, sends signals to produce both emotional experience and physical response at the same time. So, I have here a slide that can help me to explain how Cannon-Barr theory works. So, stimulus. Stimulus is something, anything, any situation that can trigger us to behavioral change. Both of these occur simultaneously. The physiological response and the feeling emotion. So our physiological response to that is our heart beating too fast and we will sweating. So the feeling emotion is we feel fear and we feeling scared. So let's move on to the next theory, the Schachter-Singer or two-way factor theory. So Schachter theory said that when we see the stimulus, which is our example is a bear, we will start to feel our physiological response, which is our heart beating fast and sweat. We will sweating. So Schachter theory argue that while our physiological response, we appraise the situation. Appraising the situation, we will trying to understand why we feel it that way, why we feel that emotion. So, our example here is, my heart is beating fast and I am sweating because there is a bear that could attack me or hurt me. Therefore, I am scared. So our feeling emotion is feeling fear or scared. That's all.
Actions or the driving force that pushes people to act or behave in a certain way. It's like an inner energy that pushes someone to meet their needs or goals. Motivation is important because it pushes us to take actions, achieve our goals, and stay focused on what we want to accomplish. Motivation can come from two sources. The internal motivation, which means this comes from within, means it's driven by the physical needs. Example of these are when you're hungry or thirsty. The other source are the external motivation, which comes from outside, like wanting social approval, rewards, or success. There are also two ways to explain how motivation works. Number one, the basic motivation model. This model shows how motivation is triggered and leads to goal-directed behavior. It works like this. The stimulus. It is something happens that triggers need or desire. For example, after you go for a jog or from running, you feel thirsty. Motive. The need or desire creates tension or discomfort. For example, your desire is thirst. Behavior. You take action to satisfy the need. For example, since you're thirsty, your behavior is to take action by finding water. Goal. You achieve your goal by drinking water and feel relieved. This is a simple cycle where a need leads to actions to satisfy it, which leads to achieving a goal and relief. The number two is the motivational cycle model. This model breaks down motivation into three parts. The motive or need. This is the internal drive that creates a need. For example, hunger. The instrumental behavior. This is the actions you take to satisfy that need. Since you're hungry, your action is to look for food. The goal is to satisfy the need. So how can you satisfy your hunger? Syempre, by eating. And lastly, the satisfactions. Once the goal is achieved, the need is satisfied, ending the cycle until the next need arises. In short, a model of motivation helps us understand why we do things and how our needs lead us to act in a certain way to achieve our specific goal. There you have it. That's the nature and types of motivation.
Good day, everyone. My name is Carl Steven S. Morales, and I'm here to report what is attitude is. Person's attitude is their collection of feelings, convictions, and actions toward a particular thing. It is an acquired perspective on the world. For example, I think that all genders have the same equal rights. Therefore, I fight gender inequality. I also believe that your success and happiness are shaped by your attitude, which directly affects on how you work and interact with other people.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Emily Rizal, and I will report measuring of attitude. Measuring attitude is a critical aspect of social science research, psychology, marketing, and various other fields. Attitude are typically defined as an evaluation of people, objects, or ideas, and they can be a positive, negative, or neutral. Attitude measurement involves assessing and quantifying the community benefit effective components of attitude. Commonly techniques including self-report scale like Likert, Thurstone, and Centemic differential scale. This method helps researchers evaluate individuals' feelings, beliefs, and commonly methods of attitude measurement is attitude questionnaire. There are two ways na ginagamit para sa attitude questionnaire. Letter A is Thurstone type of scaling, and letter B is Likert type of scales. Next is projective test as a means of attitude measurement is a vital tool is various fields providing an insight into how individuals think and feel about different subjects. By employing different skills, researcher can implication for behavior na and decision making. Ang measurement attitude ay nagbibigay ng idea katulad ng kung paano ay nagbibigay siya ng idea kung ano nga ba yung attitude ng isang tao. Kunyari, ako, meron akong ugali or attitude na hindi ko malabas. Gagawin ko, ang ginawa ko po is gumawa po ako ng list kung ano po ba yung proper way or proper attitude na meron talaga ako. Paano nga ba natin mini-measure yung attitude natin or attitude ng ibang tao? We have said that we arrive at measurements of attitude by inference between data on which to base our interest, right? Such as data are collected by various methods like attitude questionnaire, projective test as a means of measuring attitude in a rating scale. We may observe the ongoing behavior of people in the natural setting by conducting these measurements.
So let's move on to a attitude questionnaire. It is a kind of close-ended question that particularly evaluates a respondent's attitude or emotional reaction to a subject. These are frequently used in qualitative surveys, much like open-ended questions, and provide the researcher with information that a typical multiple choice. There are two types of scaling, which is Thurstone type of scaling and Likert scale. So Thurstone type of scaling has a number of agree or disagree statements. It is a scale used for evaluating people's opinions compared to other scales, which is Likert scales. So what is Likert scales? Likert scales is to measure attitude directly, that is, while the subject is aware that their attitude is being observed. A variety of rating systems have been created. The Likert scale is the most commonly used. So what is the difference of these two? So, by giving them each item on a list score, Thurstone scales enable respondents to provide multiple answers. So, in contrast, the Likert scales that only permit one
Hello everyone,
response.
I'm Nora Jean Moanay and my report is about projective tests as a means of measuring attitude. Projective tests are a fascinating area of psychological assessment. They offer a unique approach to understanding personality and attitudes by presenting individuals with ambiguous stimuli. Things that aren't clearly defined instead of direct questions, these tests rely on the idea that individuals will project their own internal world into these ambiguous images or situations. What they see, the stories they tell, the drawings they create, these all become windows into their unconscious thoughts, feelings, and motivations. Several well-known projective tests exist. The Rorschach inkblot test, perhaps the most famous, uses a series of inkblots. The subject describes what they see, and the responses are analyzed for recurring themes, emotional tone, and the way the individual interacts with the ambiguous stimuli. The thematic apperception test, or TAT, uses a series of pictures depicting ambiguous scenes. Subjects create stories around these pictures, revealing their perceptions of relationships, conflicts, and desires. Other projective techniques involve drawing tasks, like the Draw a Person test, where the details of a drawing can offer insight into self-perception and relationships, or sentence completion test, where incomplete sentences are finished to reveal underlying beliefs and attitudes. The power of these tests lies in their ability to bypass conscious defenses. Because the stimuli are unclear, individuals are less likely to censor their responses, revealing aspects of their personality that might not emerge through direct questioning. This is particularly useful in exploring sensitive topics like anxieties, fears, and unconscious biases. Take, for example, this picture. What does it tell you? Is she sad? Lost? The stories we tell about this image can reveal our own biases. If we see her as a weak or lonely, it might reflect our own feelings about aging or vulnerability. And that's all for the projective test.
Hi, I'm Francine Miranda, and I'm here to discuss the rating scale. So what is a rating scale? A rating scale in research investigation is a collection of close-ended response options that are asked respondents if they agree or disagree with assertion. These responses are frequently translated into numerical values for analysis, such as mean, standard deviation, and confidence intervals. These are the two advantages of rating scale. First is the letter A. Letter A means that rating scale allow us to take something that is typically subjective or qualitative and turn it into something measurable and numerical, while the letter B highlights the use of rating scale to enhance the reliability of assessments by incorporating.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sainame Okina, the next reporter. So our topic is personality. According to Napolis 1988, personality is what makes you you. Personality is what makes a person special. So there are three namely characteristics of personality. First, we have uniqueness. The concept of uniqueness is often reflected in the example of the identical twins. Despite sharing the same genetic makeup, birth date, and environment, identical twins display distinct characteristics that set them apart. They may look alike physically, but the differences in their personalities, behavior, and emotional responses are unmistakable. These differences become apparent in how they react to the challenges, their approach to the life experiences, and the way they interact with others. Even though they share the same upbringing, their individual choices, thoughts, and feelings shape their identity. The contrast between the twins, whether in interest, mannerism, or way of communicating, become their unique identifier, highlighting the profound idea that no two individuals, even two seemingly identically, are ever exactly the same. And number two, we have adaptability. Ayan. Adaptability in personality refers to the ability of an individual to change and adjust their traits, behavior, and attitudes over time. It highlights that personality is not just rigid or fixed, but rather shaped by life experiences, choices, and personal growth efforts. People are capable of adapting to new circumstances, challenges, and environments, allowing them to refine or alter their personality in response to the situations they face. Adaptability also involves the capacity to learn from experiences, demonstrating flexibility in how one interacts with the world and others. Number three, organization. Organization in personality refers to the way a person, feelings, and actions are structured and connected, creating a cohesive and predictable pattern. An organized individual tends to display consistency in behavior, meaning that even in a different situation, their responses and attitudes are aligned and make sense. The organization in personality is what allows people to function effectively in a various environments, showing stability and reliability. It ensures that an individual's actions are aligned with their internal thoughts and feelings, making their behavior more predictable and coherent. So,
I will be the next reporter, and I am Marciano Janlin B. I will report the concept of personalities. Number 1, biological inheritance. These are the traits we inherit from our parents through genes. It includes our physical features, like our height or eye color, and to a certain behaviors or natural talents. And for example po dito is, ako po, marunong po akong sumayaw or kumanta. So, this could be because I inherited those traits from my parent. Number 2 is general physical health, diet, exercise, and rest. A person's health and lifestyle directly affect our personality and behavior. It means po our overall health, what we eat, how active we are, and how much sleep can affect our personality. And being healthy can make us more confident and energetic, while poor health can make us lack proper self-care and it can lead to irritability or low energy. For example po ako, kumakain po ako ng mga healthy meals, I exercise regularly, and get enough sleeps. So, it feels energetic and happy throughout the day. On the other hand naman po, skipping meals and not enough sleeps or late often feel irritable and grumpy. Environment, number 3. This is about our surrounding that we grow up in, like our family, friends, school, and culture. This influence how we behave and see the world. Example po, I grew up in a supportive family and loving family. So, I tend to trust people easily and it's outgoing. And also, I'll become friendly and kind because the environment that I grew up in is the same. So, na-adapt natin siya.
Hi everyone, I'm Aizel Aduera and I will discuss about the components of personality. This topic explains what are the different parts of what make us unique as individuals. So, there are 5 main components of personality and the first one is physical aspect. This is how we look, our appearance, posture, hygiene, and even the way we dress. For example, when someone takes care of how they look, we perceive them as someone who is confident, self-assured, and well-organized. The second one is emotional aspect. This is about our feelings and how we handle them. It is how we react to stress, anger, or any challenges. For example, some people are calm under pressure, while others get easily frustrated just like me. And that's okay because everyone's different. So, the third main components of personality is social aspect. From the word itself, social, this is where we socialize and interact with other people. And this one is about relationships. Paano ba tayo nakikitungo sa ibang tao? Are we friendly? Approachable ba tayo or mahiyain? The fourth one is mental aspect, and this is our intellectual side. It is how we think, solve problems, and come up with creative ideas. Halimbawa, if there is a problem to solve, may mga taong nakakapag-isip agad ng solutions. Pero, syempre, may ibang tao rin na kailangan muna nilang mag-isip ng maayos and organize their thoughts bago sila mag-come up with a solution. The last one is moral aspect. This is our values, beliefs, and what we think is right or wrong. It is what guides our decisions and actions. For example, if you're an honest person and there's a situation na you need to lie, mas pipiliin mo pa rin maging honest kasi that's your belief and ayun yung tingin mong tama. In short, our personality is made up of these 5 components: physical, emotional, social, mental, and moral. They all work together to make us who we are.
Good morning everyone, my name is Aliyah Taman and I'm going to report about the following traits of Freud's theory. Number 1. Alfred Adler introduced the concept of the drive for superiority and social interest. This theory can be used and refers to understand behaviors rooted in feelings of inferiority or the need to contribute positively to society. For example, student's overachievement might stem from a desire to overcome perceived inadequacies. Number 2. Urge from emphasize the need for connectedness and unity with others. The parts might apply his theory to analyze how interpersonal relationships and social bonds motivate behavior, especially in individuals struggling with isolation and alienation. Number 3. Karen Horney. Horney replaced Freud's focus on sex and aggression with the need for security. Her insights are useful in explaining anxiety-driven behaviors, particularly in those who excessively seek safety or reassurance as a result of unresolved childhood fears. Carl Jung. Jung highlighted the role of the personal unconscious, individual experiences, and the collective unconscious, inherited memories. Authors could use Jung's theory to explain how deep-seated archetypes influence a person's choices and behaviors, such as cultural or familial patterns. Number 5. Erik Erikson. Erikson's psychosocial stages provide a framework for understanding human development across the lifespan. His stage, trust versus mistrust, identity versus role confusion, can be applied in efforts to evaluate how early life experiences and social relationships impact personality and growth at different life stages. A. Trust versus mistrust. Birth to one myth. During infancy, if caregivers provide consistent care and meet the baby's needs, the child develops a sense of trust. If care is unreliable or neglectful, mistrust develops. B. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. 1 to 3 years old. Toddlers begin to assert independence. Success leads to autonomy, confidence in abilities, while overly critical or controlling caregivers can cause feelings of shame and doubt. C. Initiative versus guilt. Children begin to take initiative, thought play, and decision making. Encouragement fosters creativity, while excessive criticism can lead to guilt about their actions. D. Industry versus inferiority. School-age children focus on learning and skill building. Success leads to a sense of competence, while failure of excessive criticism causes a feelings of inferiority. Identity versus role confusion. Adolescents explore their identity and try different roles. Success results in a strong sense of self, while failure leads to confusion about their place in the world. F. Intimacy versus isolation. Young adults seek deep connections and meaningful relationships. Success follows. F. Intimacy versus isolation. Young adults seek deep connections and meaningful relationships. Success fosters intimacy, while failure can result in loneliness and isolation. G. Generativity versus stagnation. Others focus on creating or nurturing things that fill out less than raising children, meaningful work. Success results is a sense of purpose, generativity, while failure leads to stagnation or self-absorption. H. Integrity versus despair. Older adults reflect on their lives. Those who feel they live with purpose experience integrity, while those who produce or unfulfilled goals feel despair.
The psychological stages of personality development. First stage is the oral stage. The oral stage is the first phase in Freud's theory of personality development, which occurs from birth to about 18 months. During this stage, the mouth is the primary source of pleasure and comfort. Babies experience satisfaction from sucking with, and not only nourish them but also provides emotional comfort, helping them manage tension and frustrations. Freud believed that the experiences and interaction a child has during this stage, particularly regarding feeding, could shape aspect of their personality in the future. For example, issues during this stage might result in an individual developing oral fixation such as smoking or biting later in life. The next stage is the anal stage. The anal stage follows the oral stage, typically occurring between age 18 months and 3 years. This stage is marked by a child's growing ability to exercise control over their bodily functions, particularly in relation to toilet training. Freud argued that the way parents handle this period, whether through strictness or leniency, can significantly influence the child's personality. A child who is overly controlled may develop traits such as perfectionism or stubbornness, while a child who is allowed too much freedom during this phase may become messy or disorganized. The anal stage emphasizes the development of control, autonomy, and the balancing of impulse. The number 3 stage is the phallic stage. The phallic stage occurs between age 3 and 6, during which children become more aware of their bodies and their sexuality. Freud suggests that the children develop unconscious feeling of attractions toward the opposite sex parent and jealousy or rivalry toward the same sex parent. This is famously known as the Oedipus complex in boys and the Electra complex in girls. Successfully navigating this stage helps children from their gender identity and align more closely with the same-sex parents, learning behavior and values. However, unresolved conflict or frustration during this stage could lead to issues such as low self-esteem or difficulties in forming healthy relationships later in life. The number 4 stage is latency stage. The latency stage spans from around age 6 to puberty, about 12 years old. And it's often seen as a time of calm in Freud's theory. During this phase, unconscious drives and sexual urge are not as prominent, and children focus more developing social, intellectual, and physical skills. They begin to establish friendship, expand their knowledge, and engage in activities like schoolworks, hobbies, and sports. While there is less internal conflicts, this stage is critical developing of self-confidence, mastering new abilities, and forming healthy relationships. It's a period of steady growth and exploration, laying the foundation for the future stage of development. The last stage is the genital stage. So, the genital stage is the final stage in Freud's theory of personality development, which begins at puberty and continues into adulthood. During this period, individual experiences a resurgence of strong sexual desire and develop a more mature, balanced approach to relationship. The focus during the genital stage shifts to the capacity of sexual intimacy and emotional connection with others, as well as the desire to contribute to society and work toward personal and professional goals. At this stage, individual ego must manage to the desire of the I, which seeks sexual pleasure, while adhering to the moral standard and rules set by the suprego, which represents societal and ethical values. The success of this balancing act is critical for the development of well-being, a just and integrated personality. If the ego successfully
The The last stage is the genital stage.
The last stage is the genital stage. The genital stage is the final stage in Freud's theory of personality development, which begins at puberty and continues into adulthood. During this period, individuals experience a resurgence of strong sexual desire and develop more mature, balanced approach to relationships. The focus during the genital stage shifts to the capacity of sexual intimacy and emotional connection with others, as well as the desire to contribute to society and work toward personal and professional goals. At this stage, the individual's ego must manage the desire of the ID, which seek sexual pleasure while adhering to the moral standard and rules set by the suprego, which represents societal and ethical values. The success of this balancing act is critical for the development of well-adjusted and integrated personality. If the ego successfully mediates between the ID and suprego, the individual can form healthy, mature relationship and develop a stable, productive identity as they transition into adulthood.
Hi everyone, it's me again, Izzy Guerra, and now I will talk about the trait theory. This theory explains how our personality is made up of traits or characteristics that influence how we act, think, and feel. Una sa lahat, ano nga ba ang traits? Traits are the consistent characteristic that make us unique. Halimbawa, may taong friendly and outgoing, meron ding taong shy and quiet. These traits guides how we behave in different situations. Ayon kay Gordon Alford, there are 3 kinds of traits: cardinal, central, and secondary traits. Cardinal traits, ito yung super dominant sa personality mo. Ito rin yung palaging napapansin. Sa madaling salita, core personality mo to. Gaya ng intelligence, honest, and justice. Pangatlo is secondary traits. Ito yung traits na lumalabas lang in specific situations. Halimbawa, nagiging shy ka in a crowded places. Siyempre, unfamiliar ka, hindi mo kilala yung mga tao. Nagiging shy ka. Pero if friends mo kasama mo, dun lumalabas yung pagkamaingay mo, pagiging confident mo. Ayun. Next is Hans Eysenck na nag-focus sa 2 dimensions of personality. The first dimension is introversions versus extroversion. The second dimension is stability versus neuroticism. Introversion, ito yung mga taong mas gusto ng alone time or yung sila lang. Extroversion naman, ito yung mga taong mahilig makipag-socialize or makipag-interact sa ibang tao. Stability versus neuroticism. Stable people are calm, relaxed, while neurotic people tend to be more anxious and stressed. Eventually, psychologists came up with the big 5 traits na tinatawag ding Ocean Model. O for openness, C for conscientiousness, E for extroversion, A for agreeableness, and N for neuroticism. In summary, the trait theory shows that our personality is shaped by consistent traits that influence how we act and interact with others. Understanding these traits help us recognize and understand how we can grow. Thank you.
I'm Saina Melkina, the next presenter. Type theories. Type theory suggests that the people can be grouped into specific categories based on certain traits, behavior, characteristics. According to this theory, individuals with each group share common traits but differ from those in other groups. These groupings can help understand personality by simplifying the complex nature of human behavior. For example, people can be classified into active and passive groups. Those in the active group are typically energetic, outgoing, and action-oriented, while those in the passive group may be more relaxed, reserved, and introspective. For example, another example, introvert and extrovert. Introvert are often more focused on their inner thought and feelings, preferring solitude or smaller, more intimate settings. They may find large social gathering draining and require time alone to recharge. Extrovert, in contrast, are oriented towards the external world, seeking stimulation from their surroundings and people. They tend to enjoy socializing, participating in group activities, and often feel emphasized by interacting.
The next theory is behavioral theory. This theory says that a person's personality is shaped by their experiences and the events around them. It focuses on the rewards and punishments called reinforcement influence how people behave. And according to Skinner, a key supporter of this theory, explains that our behavior depends on its result. If something may ginawa kang maganda and after mong gawin yung bagay na yun, you're getting praise. So, kaya ulitin mo siya, and that is called positive reinforcement. Example po, me, I give my sister a food that she likes every time she finishes her homework on time. So over time, my sister learns to always do her homework because she enjoys the reward, which is the food I gave to her. So my sister's behavior completing her homework was shaped by the reward or the food I gave to her. So, behavioral theory teaches us that people do things because of what happens after they repeat actions that brings good result, which the rewards. And the key idea of this behavior theory is ulit-ulit mong gawin yung isang bagay dahil may reward kang matatanggap, and not the reward itself that we repeat action, because may maganda siyang kakalabasan sa atin if we doing that thing.
Hi everyone, I am Aizela Dera and now I will discuss about humanistic personality theory. This theory is different from others because it focuses on positivity, how we can grow, reach our potential, and become the best versions of ourselves. So, the humanistic personality theory is all about self-growth and seeing the good in people. Instead of focusing on problems or conflicts, it emphasizes our personal growth and self-development. So, the main belief of this theory is that we are all naturally motivated to grow and improve ourselves. In short, kahit maraming challenges, may natural drive pa rin tayo na i-improve yung sarili natin. So, let's start with Carl Rogers. He said that we all have what he called actualizing tendency, a natural push to grow, improve, and become our best selves. And he also talked about the different part of the self, the ideal self and the real self. The ideal self is who we want to become, and the real self is who we are right now. Kapag malapit si real self sa ideal self natin, of course, we feel happy and fulfilled. Pero if kabaligtaran, if napakalayo ng real self natin sa ideal self natin, syempre, dun tayo nakakapil ng frustration or dissatisfaction. Next, let's talk about Abraham Maslow. He created the hierarchy of needs, which explains the steps that we take to reach our full potential. Physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem needs, and self-actualization. In conclusion, the humanistic personality theory reminds us that people are naturally motivated to grow and achieve their full potential. It teaches us to focus on personal development and seize challenges as opportunities. That's all. Thank you.
So next, let's talks about the personality dynamics. Number 1 is repression, hiding painful or uncomfortable thoughts so we don't remember them. And according to Freud, this is the way our minds protects us from feeling too much stress, fear, or guilt. It helps us deal with tough emotion by hiding or changing how we think about them. For example, me, I had a scare accident when I was a child, but I don't remember it anymore because I unconsciously repress the memory to avoid the feeling scared. And in simple words, repression is like hiding bad memories in a mental storage box so you don't have to think about them. Number 2, regression. Going back to childlike behavior when faced with stress or difficult emotion. And for example, when my mother scolds me, I start sulking like a child even though I'm an adult. And in simple words of regression is acting like a child when life feels too hard. Number 3, reaction formation. Acting in the opposite way of how you really feel to hide your true emotion. Example po nito is, I like the guy and pinapakita ko sa kanya is being rude, pero gusto ko siya. Para lang matago yung feelings ko sa kanya is pamakitan ko yung ugali ko na pinapakita sa kanya. And in simple words, yung reaction formation po is pretending to feel the opposite of what you really feel. Number 4, projection. Blaming others for feelings or traits so you don't want to admit in yourself. And for example dito is, I often lazy. But when I see my siblings relaxing, I accuse them for being lazy. So, in simple words, projection, seeing your own flaws in other people instead of yourself. Number 5, rationalization, making excuses to justify action that may not be right. Making excuses to justify something you did wrong or not be right. And example po, after failing an exam, I said to myself that I didn't even want to pass the test. It was easy for me. So, in simple words, rationalization, making up reason to feel better about something bad. And number 6, replacement. Taking out your anger or frustration on something or something else instead of the real cause. And for example of this is me. After a tough day at my school, I yelled at my brother or sister even though they didn't do anything wrong. So, in simple words, displacement, misplacing your anger onto the wrong person or object. And for the last, sublimation, turning negative emotions or impulses into something positive. An example, me, I feel frustrated and I painted to lessen my frustration. Dito ko siya ma-express sa pag-paint yung emotions ko. And sometimes, it creates amazing artwork. So, in simple words of sublimation, turning bad feelings into something useful or creative. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Introduction of Filipino values. The Filipino value system reflects the unique culture, tradition, and way of life of the Filipino people. It embodies the beliefs, principles, and behavior shaped by history, religion, environment, and social interactions. These values are deeply rooted in the Philippine identity and influence how Filipinos navigate life, interact with others, and build their sense of community. For example, respect for elders or paggalang. Filipinos show respect by using terms like po and opo when speaking to elders and performing gesture like the mano, placing the elder's hand on one's forehead as a sign of respect.
These are the values of modern Filipino. Okay, the first one is pananalig or faith. Filipinos often have strong faith in God, shown in prayers and attending church. The second is katapatan or faithfulness, is seen in their loyalty to family, friends, and in their community. They stay committed to their beliefs and relationships, showing their support and love to those they care about.
Social learning through emphasizes that individuals learn by observing others and the consequences of their actions, rather than relying only on direct reward or punishment. This learning process involves modeling with individuals imitate behaviors they see and self-regulation, where they set personal standards based on what they have observed. Example: imagine a student observing how another classmate receives praise for submitting a assignment early. The observing student reports this behavior to others later. The teacher really appreciates when we submit the work ahead of time. Over time, the observing student may start submitting assignments early, aiming to make the standard of excellence they observe being evaluated.
So now we discuss the nature and types of motivation and why is it important. First, motivation comes from the Latin word mover, which means to move, implying actions or the driving force that pushes people to act or behave in a certain way. It's like an inner energy that pushes someone to meet their needs or goals. Motivation is important because it pushes us to take actions, achieve our goals, and stay focused on what we want to accomplish. Motivation can come from two sources. The internal motivation, which means this comes from within, means it's driven by the physical needs. Example of these are when you're hungry or thirsty. The other source are the external motivation, which comes from outside, like wanting social approval, rewards, or success. There are also two ways to explain how motivation works. Number one, the basic motivation model. This model shows how motivation is triggered and leads to goal-directed behavior. It works like this. The stimulus. It is something happens that triggers need or desire. For example, after you go for a jog or from running, you feel thirsty. Motive. The need or desire creates tension or discomfort. For example, your desire is thirst. Behavior. You take action to satisfy the need. For example, since you're thirsty, your behavior is to take action by finding water. Goal. You achieve your goal by drinking water and feel relieved. This is a simple cycle where a need leads to actions to satisfy it, which leads to achieving a goal and relief. The number two is the motivational cycle model. This model breaks down motivation into three parts. The motive or need. This is the internal drive that creates a need. For example, hunger. The instrumental behavior. This is the actions you take to satisfy that need. Since you're hungry, your action is to look for food. The goal is to satisfy the need. So how can you satisfy your hunger? Syempre, by eating. And lastly, the satisfactions. Once the goal is achieved, the need is satisfied, ending the cycle until the next need arises. In short, a model of motivation helps us understand why we do things and how our needs lead us to act in a certain way to achieve our specific goal. There you have it. That's the nature and types of motivation.
Hello everyone, I'm Nora Jean Moanay and we will tackle about ego-integrative motives. We all have these inner drives that motivates us. They're like engines that push us to do things, feel good about ourselves, and connect with the world. One big group of these drives is called ego-integrative motives. These are all about making us feel good about ourselves, strong, and successful. One of these motives is autonomy, which means wanting to be independent and make our own choices. It's about feeling free to be ourselves, like choosing our own friends or deciding what we want to do with our lives. Next is achievement, which is about wanting to do something great and feel proud of ourselves. It's that feeling of accomplishments after passing a test, finishing a project, or achieving a goal we set for ourselves. Then there's power, which is about wanting to have influence over others. It's not about being bossy, but about wanting to make a difference and have our ideas heard. Think about people who lead groups, organize events, or try to make positive changes in the world. Another important motive is recognition, which is about wanting to be seen and appreciated by others. It's about wanting to be respected and valued for who we are and what we do. Think about the feeling of getting a compliment, winning an award, or having people look up to us. And finally, we have defensiveness. This is about protecting ourselves from feeling bad or embarrassed. It's like having a shield around us to keep negative feelings away. Sometimes we use coping mechanisms like humor or taking a break to help us to feel better when things are tough. These ego-integrative motives are all part of what makes us who we are. They drive us to achieve, connect, and feel good about ourselves. Understanding these motives help us to understand ourselves and others better. And that's all. Thank you for listening.
Classification of motives. So, motive is classified in three general categories. First, the physiological or biological motive. So, these motives are needed in order to live or to survive. So, these are the motives that essential for survival. Hunger motive. The body is always using up materials in growth, in repair, or tissues and in the storage of reserve supplies. So, the body needs food, energy for growth and repair. Thirst motive. Water is just as necessarily for survival as food. It is an important item in the body's use of food and it is constantly being lost through the lungs, skin, and kidney. Water is vital for survival as it plays its key role in metabolism and it is constantly lost from the body. Sex drive. Sexual motivation is classified as physiological because hormones plays a vital role in physical growth and development. So hormonal influence drives sexual motivation which is necessarily for reproduction. Pain avoidance. Pain is sensation but it can be a powerful motive. The individual then strives to remove the injurious stimulus. So pain motives avoidance is to remove the source of pain or discomfort and seeking to the relief. Maternal drive. The basic source of maternal motive is found in a certain hormones put into the mother's bloodstream. Parental care, with social learning playing an important role in humans. Rest, sleep, and comfort. If a person performs strenuous exercises, he hastens the fatigue effect. Sleep helps to recover strength, reduce fatigue, and ensure comfort. Exploration, manipulation, and curiosity. Exploration appears to be motive, activated by the new and unknown, directed towards no more specific goal than find out human being will be learn a behavior just to be allowed to explore the environment. Exploration drives individuals to investigate to the unknown, while manipulation involves interacting with specific object and curiosity motivate investigation of unfamiliar stimuli. These physiological needs are essential for both survival and well-being.
Social motives. These are learned motives, meaning they are not innate but developed through experience and learning. They center around our relationship with other people. And there are 6 social motives. First, the affection drive. This refers to the powerful human motive of love. Love can be either unlearned or learned through experience. It is a fundamental drive that, given the opportunity, naturally emerges as we mature. Second is the affiliation drive. This drive is triggered when people feel threatened or insecure. The need for affiliation is a desire to be part of a supportive or sympathetic group, providing a sense of belonging and security. Power drive. The need for power is the learned motive characterized by the desire to influence, control, or have an impact on others or situations. It's about gaining recognition in its status. It's not necessarily about dominance or aggression, but rather about having influences and making a difference. Next is social approval. The need for social approval is a fundamental human motive. The desire to be accepted, liked, and valued by the others. It's about seeking positive feedback and avoiding rejection. This motive drives us to conform to social norms and seek the approval of significant people in our lives. Next is nurturanceal altruism. This motive reflects the inherent human need to protect, care for, and nurture others. It's about providing support and assistance, often without expecting anything in return. It's closely linked to altruism, the selfless concern for the well-being of others. Next is the achievement. The need for achievement is a fundamental human motive that drives individuals to strive for excellence, accomplishment, and mastery. The intensity of this motive varies greatly from person